Want to talk about victim blaming today? I have a new post up on my website, on the blog at centerforpeace.org, where I discuss this in more detail. But what I really want to talk about is why we really need to address this from the proper perspective, because this is not a new issue. Victim blaming has been something that's been done in the DV field, and it's something that DV workers, therapists, coaches, advocates have talked about for decades. Throwing a woman under the bus when she tries to get help is a common practice in this field. It's exacerbated by the so-called addiction recovery people and all of their platforms that they're on. And that's not my point here today, to diss all the different social media influencers or coaches or therapists or anything like that. We all have our platform and we all get up on our soapbox and talk about it. But at Center for Peace, we really are addressing the dignity of the victim. And we really are trying to call this out, because unless we actually look at the actual cause and start treating the cause correctly, this isn't going to get any better. And part of the problem that we have is that men aren't accepting responsibility for their behaviors. This is highly weighted on that side, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's just in the evidence. It's been in the evidence for a long time. Jackson Katz has said this is a men's issue. This is not about gender violence. This is a men's issue, and men need to be responsible for helping to stop this. But one of the most important ways we can stop victim blaming is to stop it in our social narratives. Let's just stop talking about it in the way that, if she should have left, or, if he was really abusive, why did she stay? Or, well, she shouldn't talk to him like that. Or if you're the church person, she's supposed to be submissive. Whatever the shoulds are and whatever it is that we think, we don't live in that situation with those two individuals. And if she's having difficulty getting out or getting to safety, or she's just really choosing to stay because she's trying really, really hard to honor her own personal value system, we need to work on our own social narratives and the things that we say to and about one another about this issue of victim blaming. The social court is absolutely one of the worst courts that we have. If you go into the legal arena and try to blame the victim of a robbery or some other offense like that, that would just be unheard of, right? But in our social courts, not in our legal courts, but here in these social courts, we do a lot of blaming, right? And we decide, what all of our social rules need to be. Well, one of our social rules needs to be to stop blaming innocent people for the things that other people do and won't take responsibility for. If we're going to do anything about this problem, and it is a big problem, and it doesn't matter what behavior you're talking about, whether you're talking about abusers, whether you're talking about narcissists, whether you're talking about the so-called addicts, and that's a whole other blog post there or social media post in and of itself. Whatever it is we are talking about, the behavior of blaming someone else or mutualizing that as though she's somehow culpable and it takes two to tango, is the wrong social dialogue, and we need to change our dialogue.